Hello, Internet. James Allen from Out of 8. Continuing playing City Management Simulation Metropolis. Start a new game here. First thing you do is select your little avatar, and then enter a last name. I'll call myself Mayor. And then you give your city name. There's only one choice, obviously. Welcome to Uranus. Alright, so the game takes place on the same map every time. There's no in-game tutorial, although you do have some help that you can read through over here. There are also no intermediate objectives to kind of guide you along and give you suggestions on what to do. There is a YouTube tutorial that the developer has done to kind of teach the basics, but it basically just goes through all the menus. So there's no real way of kind of knowing what to do next without kind of figuring out intrinsically on your own. In addition, with the interface here, if you scroll the map by bringing your mouse to the edge, it goes so slowly, like that. And you can also use the WASD keys, not the arrow keys though, but the WASD keys to scroll. But again, it's very slow. And there's no minimap to jump around the map. You can press this button, which highlights what the names of the different areas are. But again, you can't jump to areas with the minimap on there. Now, what can you do? First thing I'm going to do is turn the news off. There actually is a pretty good number of options in the game. First, you can adjust your budget, and I'll talk more about this at the end here because this is my big issue with the game. But you can adjust your tax rates and invest in the stock market. You buy stocks when the economy is bad, and then sell them when you're good. And also go in the welfare department where you can buy off-map housing and businesses, and then adjust the welfare levels for various things, and then how many doctors and teachers there are employed in your town. Go into transportation and adjust what the service levels are for both your roads and all of the mass transit options that you have. Inside of the police department, you can see which crimes are occurring, and then adjust the number of officers, and then go in and install closed circuit television into kind of the most crime-ridden areas of your town, which will help reduce crime in that area. You also get a lot of policies here, which cost a lot of money per month though, that allow you to kind of combat what the citizen desires are. So lots of different options here. And then finally you get your statistics, which gives you a score compared to some set numbers. You also have to have an election every year, so you kind of want to keep your citizens happy. And then over here you get a pretty handy list of what your concerns are in your city. So primarily you want to try to keep the satisfaction high so you get reelected. So let's do that. I don't deal with the stock, so I'm going to close the stock window, which is that one. I always forget which one that is. Alright, so tax levels I might actually bring up a couple percents in each area. Again, I don't really mess with the stocks too much. The welfare department here, my housing is fine. I have 11,000 houses still, so I don't need to buy any of that. I do need to buy some jobs, so I will bring that up. Now, there's two ways you can do that. On the map, you can buy buildings. You simply right-click on any of these empty structure areas here on the little arrow there, and then you can pick what you want. So I'm going to do an office complex because my people are concerned with pollution, so I don't really want to do a factory. So, and then give it a second, and there it goes. Now, what you can do, I spent 36 million on that. So if you right-click on this, now it's worth 18 million. So obviously, I don't want to sell it right now, but you can eventually sell them. So I did an office complex. I'll probably also do a farm out here. I think the farm's actually in the big area. The small squares and big squares give you different options, so you can see a lot of stuff here. Actually, I might buy I'll see where some crime is, and I'll put a, like a stadium or something over there. Just probably close that. There it goes. Alright, so let's build a farm. Non-polluting. Alright, so now I'm down to 5 million. You go down to negative 60 million before the game ends, if you want to do that. So you really don't start out with enough money to buy much of anything. I mean, that was 2 buildings, and I'm already at 0, and I still haven't adjusted any of the policies or any of the other stuff, which I'm going to have to do. Now, my unemployment's still at 7%, so I'm going to buy some off-map stuff. I have one of those each will solve that really quick. Now I'm down to negative 11 million, and I still have to put basic stuff on the buses and roads. So now I'm going to be down even more, 15 million. And then we'll talk about the policy. So what do we say? Pollution's the big one. Let me think here. So I actually might bring up doctors and nurses a little bit to cut down this waiting list. And then teachers to bring the class size down a little. Alright, so let's do some pollution policies. So let's do... God, it's so expensive. Yeah, let's do it anyway. Emissions control and energy efficiency. That'll be good. That's 201 million or 201,000 per month. Okay, so that's all that stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Now you can also buy and sell power. So I do have a lot of excess power, and the prices are pretty high. So I can sell that, and I'll put, a little bit of money in my bank account. And since that's falling, probably want to sell that too. Now here's the big problem with the game. If I click on the little clocky, I guess, looking thing, this is the highest game speed right here. Now on my computer, it takes about 45 seconds for 1 day, which means it takes 22 minutes per month. Yes, thank you. Now, as you may have saw right there before I clicked it away, your budget is only updated every month. So all of those changes and expenses and stuff that I did, I won't be able to see how that impacts my budget for another 20 minutes of game time. Which is an issue because you can't go below $60 million, and I have no idea if I'm adjusted stuff, so I'm going to go below 60 million. You also have people coming in, which is going to obviously change your tax rates, but you got to wait. Now, what can you do in the meantime? Nothing. You're sitting here and watching the game while it goes through these days. Now, here's the problem. You can't just let the game run and then, set an alarm and come back 20 minutes later, to see what happened to your budget after your changes were made. Because these events come up pretty frequently, which is good because it gives you things to do other than just, the other things in the game. But what it does is when an event happens is it slows the time down to the slowest time, which is good because it gives you time to respond to it. But that means you can't just, let the game run and come back. And that's by far really my only issue with the game, other than the slow scrolling speed for the map and not being able to find where stuff is in the town, which is too bad because there's a lot of interesting things to adjust here, that I just went over. So a lot of different options here, especially with the policies, in order to keep your people happy. Oh yeah, see, there you go. So let's do it. Let's do rec. Doesn't really matter. Let's see how it slowed it down to real time. Now it goes back up after you click it, but again, you have to pay attention to the game. You can't just let it run while you're waiting for the budget thing. And that's it. I mean, the game has a good base, but the time just ruins it. Now I'm hoping that that's a pretty easy fix, because I think once you fix the time, then the game would be actually enjoyable. What I would do is probably do a second a day, as like a fifth fastest option on here. Still automatically slow it down when you get events. But if you did a second a day, then you could only, 30 seconds later, you could find out what your budget does. Instead of having to sit here for 20 minutes, watching the game go. And that's it. I mean, that's the game. A lot of different options, which are really nice. I do like the ability to buy and sell buildings. You can also improve existing buildings. If I click on one that I can actually upgrade, there you go. So you can upgrade the airport for 24 million. Again, I don't want to get too close to my game over negative 60 million limit there. Um, lots of different policies and tax rates and budget rates to adjust. Where you want your police force to focus on, stuff like that. So lots of different options in the game. The events are nice as well because it gives you, kind of breaks up the monotony of adjusting budget levels and stuff like that. But the game time is simply too slow. Make it happen a second per day or something, at least really much, much faster. Yeah. There's only 361 days for the next election. Again, that's 4.5 hours away in real time. So, very, very drawn out there with the way that the game speed is. So again, improve the game speed, and then we have a compelling game. But as it is right now, there's way too much waiting around for your budget to get updated. Which doesn't make sense because, I added all those jobs and the satisfaction goes up instantly, but your budget, again, you got to wait so long for it. So if they fix that, then this is a recommended title. But until they fix that, the slow game speed makes this, makes your budget update too infrequently to allow you to assess what your changes do to for your town. That's all I have for today. Until next time, bye now.